Now, you sometimes hear about liberal bias in the media these days, how they're constantly letting our government off the hook for no good reason. Frankly, I think that's insulting. It's clear that they let us off the hook for a very good reason, because we paid them $600 million.
What a funny guy, that Justin Trudeau. Seems he's now putting his skills as a drama teacher into practice, attempting to tell some jokes at a press gallery. He seems to think it's funny to crack jokes about a well-funded propaganda machine that he created with your tax dollars and which is beholden to the state and the state alone. In case you missed it, guys, be sure to check out the Canadian media $600 million bailout exposed, what you need to know. Well, since then, he's used the dying legacy media to scare as many Canadians as possible into giving up as much as their fundamental freedoms as possible. But there's one politician who has had enough, and they're directly taking on Ottawa and the World Economic Forum. Just get a load of just a few articles that are out recently about the new Premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith. Canadian leader considers dropping COVID lockdown charges, apologizes to unvaccinated. She ended up doing exactly that, which we'll show you later in this video. Premier Danielle Smith says she distrusts the World Economic Forum and Alberta is to cut ties, saying, quite frankly, until that organization stops bragging about how much control they have over political leaders, I have no interest in being involved with them. Maybe now's a good time to get the hashtag Danielle Smith didn't kill herself going. Am I right? And here's the thing. She's just getting started. Vaccine skeptical slate captures all 9 contested positions on UCP board. So what happens now that half the 18 elected members of the United Conservative Party board are vaccine skeptical allies of Premier Danielle Smith? Spoiler alert, guys, I can tell you what happens. Canadians will get their freedoms back from the medical industrial complex who is responsible for COVID-19 84. Now, don't get me wrong, guys, I don't endorse any politician, and I believe that we have to take matters into our own hands, which I will explain. But when a premier of a province in Canada as big as Alberta is fighting the good fight, we're certainly going to take notice and pay close attention. So today we're going to take a look at all of this, guys, and much more in this video. But just before we do, I'd ask that you check me out right here at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you appreciate my efforts to bring you all this info. Here you can do a one-time donation with PayPal. You can contribute Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies here. You can also add me on Subscribestar, which is a great Patreon alternative. I have been kicked off of Patreon. You can also sign up right here for a monthly reoccurring contribution, or you can send an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca. And of course, if you like to keep things old school, as I do, you can send cash or checks or equipment or simply just words of encouragement to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of that are located in the description below. Once again, thank you so much to anybody who has taken the time to support my efforts here at Press for Truth. All right, guys, let's start with this epic video where she lays it all out and she threatens to take on Ottawa head on in the battle for Canadians' freedoms. Check this out.
Finally, the Ottawa problem. There can be no doubt that the current NDP Liberal Alliance is just the latest in a long line of Ottawa governments that have frustrated the legitimate aspirations of hardworking Albertans. That stops now. When Ottawa announces policies and laws that attack our economy or violate the rights of our people, or when Ottawa seeks to take control of our sovereign areas of provincial jurisdiction, our UCP government will not enforce those laws and policies in this province, period. Let me be very clear. I will never, ever apologize for standing up for the people of Alberta and the province that I serve. So, we will pass the Sovereignty Act, Work has already begun on crafting it. We worked on it earlier this week at the caucus retreat. We still have further work to do, but I've asked for it to be ready by the time I take my seat in the legislature. We will then introduce it, and we will pass it, and we will use it to push Ottawa back into its own lane every single time that they step out of line and intrude on our constitutional rights. Alberta will no longer ask permission from Ottawa to be prosperous and free.
Let me reiterate, Danielle Smith didn't kill herself. Comedian and actor Rob Schneider chimed in on it all. Rob Schneider tweets support of Alberta Premier Danielle Smith. He said, "Alberta has a real leader." And he tweeted out the almost 2-minute video that we just watched. And I don't really care much about what TV celebrities have to say, but in Schneider's case, I noticed he's been awake to what's been happening since the very beginning with tweets like this. Trudeau may have to redefine what a small fringe minority is. It's stretching from Manitoba to Ontario. Now, just last week, I reported on her plans to get justice where justice is due. In this video, Based, Alberta Premier says unvaxxed are the most discriminated against group she has ever seen. And since then, she has filled her party with people who are skeptical about the vaccines, taking up 9 of the 18 available positions. While media was concentrating on the speeches and calls for unity at the UCP annual general meeting in Edmonton on Saturday, members of the so-called Take Back Alberta group captured all 9 contested positions on the party board. These are people who not long ago, former Premier Jason Kenney dismissed as lunatics. Talk about a complete 180 in Alberta. But not only that, she wants to take on the World Economic Forum as well. Check this out. Premier Danielle Smith says she distrusts World Economic Forum, Alberta to cut ties. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith said she is canceling a health consulting agreement involving the World Economic Forum, an agency at the center of global domination conspiracy theories, because she won't work with a group that talks about controlling governments. I find it distasteful when billionaires brag about how much control they have over political leaders, Smith said at a news conference Monday after her new cabinet was sworn in. That is offensive. The people who should be directing government are the people who vote for them. Quite frankly, until that organization stops bragging about how much control they have over political leaders, I have no interest in being involved with them. Danielle Smith didn't kill herself. Canadian leader considers dropping COVID lockdown charges, apologizes to the unvaccinated. The Premier of Alberta, Canada, said she is working on a plan to pardon residents who were fined or arrested over breaking coronavirus protocols, and apologized to the unvaccinated Canadians who faced discrimination. So let's take a look at the video, because as far as I know, this is the first time any politician in the world has apologized for what happened to their people under this medical tyranny. Check this out.
Hi, Ms. Smith. Celine Gallis from Rebel News. During your campaign, you said that not only would you issue an apology to those prosecuted during COVID restrictions, but you would also grant them amnesty. When can we expect those apologies?
I can apologize right now. I'm deeply sorry for anyone who was inappropriately subjected to discrimination as a result of their vaccine status. I'm deeply sorry for any government employee that was fired from their job because of their vaccine status, and I welcome them back if they want to come back. As for the amnesty, I have to get some legal advice on that, and so I've already asked my staff to request that advice so I can see how we would be able to proceed on that. My view has been that these were political decisions that were made, and so I think that they can be political decisions to offer a reversal, but I do want to get some legal advice on that first.
Would that also have to do with the timeline for the proposed amnesties?
I would have to see if I can do it. I will do it at the earliest opportunity. So I'm hoping within the next week I'll get that legal advice.
So within the next week or so, she's hoping to get that legal advice needed to be able to legally drop all of these charges that have been trumped up over the last couple of years during the COVID-19 84 nightmare. And my friends, I've seen politicians flip-flop on their positions and their intentions time and time again. So let's not get too carried away here with looking to someone like Danielle Smith to fix all of our problems for us. If you haven't seen it, please be sure to check out my film, The Democracy Deception Part 2, What's the Alternative? where I go over the various pros and cons of what may someday replace democracy, but more importantly, how traditional morals, standards, and values need to make a strong comeback before we can ever achieve a libertarian or so-called anarchist utopia. So, as I said, I am very skeptical of all politicians' true intentions. Having said that, we're going to continue to monitor what she is saying and pay close attention to what Danielle Smith is attempting to do. My friends, links for all of this are going to be located in the description of this video, wherever you happen to be watching this, whether it be on BitChute or Odyssey or Rumble or Minds or Bastion, or maybe you're even watching this on YouTube. Go click on where it says more and you'll see all the links to all the sources to this video, as well as to where you can find me at pressfortruth.ca/donate if you want to financially contribute to my efforts to continuously bring you this information. And that's all for today, guys. I want to thank you once again for tuning in. Don't forget to click that thumbs up button, share this video with your friends and family who you think need to see it the most, and stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.